This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that you know. Some rockstar dads who started a show. So here's the next episode.
Welcome everybody to the Rockstar Dad Show. And man, it feels like a while since we've done this, Gary.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because it has been a while. Here we are. We're back.
Been a while since I could.
Man.
I know. It's been busy, but it's the good kind of busy. And we didn't forget you guys. Coming up later on the program, Jordan Keltner. You guys out there? Gary, I'm certain that your wife does, but do you watch Love is Blind?
I don't watch any reality TV.
Okay. I understand. I get it.
So
I just
yeah, but she probably knows him because she watches all of the reality TV.
Well, it's what's great is, and here's what I'm thinking on our interview. We won't beat him up too much on Love is Blind because he's already done all those interviews. He's a single dad who went on this reality show and ended up, basically with somebody, but didn't make it all the way. Didn't go get. You don't know how it works, but basically, they meet through a wall, and then they meet a lot of different people through different walls. And then if they decide they have a connection with somebody, then they have to go get married.
Man.
No, then they spend like 6 weeks together in a house. And then at the end of that, they have to walk down the aisle and they decide like there whether or not they're going to say I do or not. And it sort of goes lots of different ways. Jordan, they decided they weren't going to do that to one another and didn't do it that way. But they ended up bailing out before they made it to the wedding, which is good. Anyway, the thing is, as I said, he's a single dad and he has a book series that is called Dear Luca, and his son's name's Luca and stuff. And so we're going to talk.
That's really cool.
We're going to talk more about that than we're going to talk about Love is Blind. Anyway, that's later. For now, man, we got Wembley Arena coming up this weekend. And we've played there before, with Steel Panther. It was great fun. Great fun. And
it's funny trying to talk to our friends and people that we're friends about this upcoming show because it's a huge deal for us, right?
Yeah.
It's our biggest headline show ever. But I think whenever we say that, a lot of people, they don't understand the qualifiers that we're using in that sentence, right? Like our biggest headline show, it's a big show. Holy crap, it's a big show, right? But they see photos and stuff of us playing these huge festivals and they're like, oh my God, y'all are doing that and it's y'all's. It's like, well, no, it's not our biggest show that we've ever played.
Yeah.
It's our biggest show.
Yeah, that's just it. I try and say, because you have to clarify because it's not nearly our biggest show. I mean, it's not even close because festivals and things like that,
Right.
And of course the people in the UK obviously know that and people that saw us at Warped Tour and things like that. So yeah, it's not our biggest show, but it's our biggest show where it's like, hey, I'm going to go buy a ticket to go see Bowling for Soup.
Right.
And this is how many people are going. It's going to be our biggest one. Now, it's not like crazy bigger than Cardiff, but it's a venue that is very historical.
Right.
And it's a bucket list venue for a lot of people. It's a venue where the music culture, the culture in the UK is so rich and engaged in music. I mean, they go to festivals for their holidays. Like the whole family goes to a festival in a tent, and that's their getaway for the year. I mean, it's a big part of their culture and their lives. And so Wembley is also a place where people like to go see shows. Oh my God, you're playing Wembley. And so, man, I'm excited about it. And with us, of course, will be Wheatus and Punk Rock Factory and John Mahan. And gosh, it's going to be great. We got a lot of surprises, but I'm excited about it. it's a lot of travel in a short amount of time. There was talks of us adding shows in, Ireland and maybe Italy, and none of that came to fruition. And it's for the best. I actually am happy that I'm getting to come back home because it's the holidays, and I feel like I've been gone so much this year. But man, I'm excited.
I'm glad for obviously excited for the show and for the trip. I'm kind of stoked that it ended up just being this and back because two reasons. Since it's just, hey, let's go play the show and then we're coming back home. My wife Anik's going to get to go, and of course she could have gone to that show anyways. And if we would have gone and done other things, she would have flown home. I just don't think she would want to do that on her own. So since it's back and forth, she's going to travel with us, with me, and get to go do that. So that'll be fun for her and for me to have her there. But the other reason I'm happy about that is right whenever we get home from it, she and I get home and have a day at home, and then we're flying to Chicago to go see Tyler do this crazy percussion ensemble thing that he has going on in Chicago.
Right. Yeah. That had we expanded on this thing, you would have missed that, which would have really sucked. We missed a lot of shit this year, and so I'm glad you're going to be there. I'm going to be here for Everett's Christmas concert, which I did not miss last year, by the way. But this year he's in 7th grade, and so he actually gets to wear the tuxedo and stuff. And so I'm excited about that, and excited to see him, because I missed on the, I don't know what it was that we were doing. Simple Plan tour, maybe. No, that can't be. That was before. I don't know. One of the tours that we were on, I missed. Oh, Warped or Bust. I missed his first ever play, theatrical play.
Yeah, and he was kind of sick and had to power through to make it, right?
He did. Yeah, he actually went home sick the day before with sick. And they were just like, he has to be here at least half the day to be able to perform. And like Casey had to talk to the school nurse, and he didn't have a fever, but he was genuinely ill. And the nurse was like, if he doesn't have a fever, let him come and power through half the day. And so, yeah, he did it, and he hung on, and he played his football game, and he did the play that week. And so, yeah, I was super proud of him for powering through. That's not easy to do. No.
And you reminded me, I'm going to go on a little tangent here. I'm going to go on like a Ian conspiracy tangent for a second. But if you remember last year, I got all upset, and I had the battle with the school over missed school hours for Tyler and excused and non-excused absences and all that. And he ended up having to go to Saturday, whatever. Right. And I was like, okay, from this, the lesson that I've learned is even if your kid's sick, you should still send them to school. And that's the takeaway that I got. And every time I told them that, they're like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, that is exactly what you're telling me. Anyways, So remembering that in the past few weeks, Tyler was sick and missed a couple of days of school. And it kind of lined up with right at the same time he was supposed to go to his doctor for like a annual checkup kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so they ended up going to the doctor and got a doctor's note because he was sick. And the doctor, it was super cool. He's like, hey, he doesn't have a fever, but we'll write a note. And let's say that I think it was like a Wednesday when they went, right? And the doctor's like, since he doesn't have a fever, he can go back tomorrow. But if he's not feeling good and ends up staying home a few more days, just call us and we'll update the letter, right? Yeah, we'll update the letter to send to the school so he's excused. Well, anyways, he was actually sick, like lethargic and slept, and it wasn't like a faking kind of thing. The kid was sick, right? And so while we were on tour, Anik was super busy, and she's like, hey, can you just call the doctor's office and have them update that note for us so I can turn in the absent, doctor's note? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I call, and you know how these things are. You don't ever get to talk to a person or a doctor, but they're like, leave a message and the nurse is going to call you back, right?
Right.
Well, the nurse calls me back, but it's not necessarily the nurse from this office. It's like the conglomerate, it's a nurse at some place, right?
Right.
Anyway, so I'd tell her what's going on. It's like, yeah, the doctor said just call back and we'd get an updated note. And she's like, well, I need to know the symptoms and blah, 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 because she's not there, right? and she wasn't at this actual office. Well, I'm on tour. I'm just trying to help my wife out, right? I'm like, I don't know. He's lethargic and sore throat and this and that. And she's like, well, does he have fever? And I go, I don't think so. I'd tell her I'm on tour. I'm not home. I'm just trying to get this note thing. She goes, well, if he doesn't have a fever, he needs to go to school. And back to send your sick kids to school. I think big medicine is on board with the school system trying to get your sick kids to go to school.
Lord, yeah. It is, I mean, shit. Yeah, but again, parents are also, I mean, like, we're not sending a sick kid to school. I mean, those circumstances were just that, this kid's worked for 2 months on this play. It's his first play ever. He's going to be that fucking butcher.
Yeah.
Well,
that whenever I'm saying this, send your sick kids to school, that I'm pointing out the absurdity of it all.
Of course. And when I say we, it's the collective we. We're not sending our kids to school. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm the easiest. Dude, I am the fucking easiest parent. Like, both my ex and my wife pick on me for being the easiest person to convince that you're sick. Like, I got a stomachache. Oh, right. Yeah, you think you can make it through? No. All right. Well, let's go back to bed. I mean, and God, Emma had it down, man. I have this story. I'll try to tell it to where people that are listening can really understand how it went. But the way that it worked when they were little, Emma and Jack, was that, I had them 50% of the time, but I had to commute 45 minutes to their school in the morning. And then Casey and I, would switch off in the afternoon, just depending on who had what going on. And anyway, it's a lot of driving, but and for the parent, it's 45 there and 45 back, and quite expensive too on these fucking toll roads here in Dallas, by the way. Each time through it charges you,
Right.
And so anyway, I got sidetracked. Sorry. But I would have to drop Jack at school first. Notice I didn't say Jack off at school first, because I've learned, being a father of a kid named Jack, you can never say the word off afterward.
But how long did that take? For me, it'd probably be like, it was 6. It took me 6 years to figure it.
Well, yeah, I mean, probably around that. Yeah. It was, I mean, you think about it every time,
right.
Like, it's one of those. I had to drop Jack at school earlier, and then she and I would have like a 45-minute wait in the car. And, it was actually really fun. And we have so many stories from those times of, like, listening to the radio, or, I would take a nap and she would do homework, and then she'd have to wake me up. And, I mean, it's just fun stuff. But anyway, getting to spend time with my kids was the trade-off. It was like, oh, okay, well, here's 45 minutes there and 45 minutes back that they're locked in this car with me and have to spend time with me, and, which is why my Spotify Wrapped is so fucked, because I can't, it's not any of my choices. It's all theirs. I give them control of the radio,
Anik was just talking about that today. Her number one song is Soda Pop by the Zombie Demon Hunters. I don't think that's not really hers. It just, there's a certain little girl that played it 1,000 times in a row.
Mia's thing or whatever. I actually will look at mine and see what it is, because Everett's tastes are so crazy, because he's like into 50s music and shit. Like, he likes to listen to, fucking, just 50s shit. I don't know, the soundtrack to Stand By Me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And anyway, so Emma wasn't feeling all that great. And I'm like, kid, you got to go to school today. Like, I mean, we're already here. You got this, you were fine or whatever. Anyway, she did this fucking thing where I dropped her off, and she just stood there on the steps and, like, looked like this helpless little child, like, and just kept sort of like looking at me. And in the rearview mirror, I just saw her glancing up and down and up, and I'm driving away, and she's like glancing up at me and then looking down at the ground, and glancing up at me and looking down at the ground. And, that's my little girl, like, that is my firstborn, my little baby, my princess, like, cannot do anything wrong. I mean, like, a stubbed toe is the end of the world, right? And so
Right.
I literally did the circle. I did that rest of that half drive and did a loop and came right back around, and then she jumped in the car and we came home. And she still tells that story all the time. But yeah, I'm a bit of a pushover when it comes to sick days. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad he powered. But yes, I mean, I'm so glad that you're going to be back, and I'm excited for you guys to get to go to Chicago too, because it's just such a cool. I mean, God damn it, Gary, it's fucking cold, and it's like, and you've been there. It's a different kind of cold. It's that coming off the water cold, man, and
Yeah,
it hurts.
We'll see how this trip goes. I think there's a little bit of a disconnect between like I think what Anik is thinking and what she wants to do, and like what I'm thinking reality is going to be.
Yeah.
Because the percussion ensemble, they're there for 3 days. We're going for the whole time, but we're not necessarily chaperones. We're just going.
Right.
And they have like activities and stuff. There's 3 or 4 different concerts that they're doing, but they're going to go do fun stuff too, right? They're going to go to the museum, and they're going to go to the top of the I can't think what it's called. It used to be the Sears Tower, whatever it is now. And so they got like fun stuff that they're going to go do. And Nick's like, well, we should just go do all that stuff. And I'm like, well, we're not chaperones. We don't have to go do that. Like, you and I can be on a vacation and just go see these concerts. But
yeah,
so I think probably somewhere in between is what reality is. Maybe we'll go do something, but not all of it. But then that cold factor is going to be the next thing, because I don't know that she's ever been anywhere like this at that time of year.
Yeah.
And so it may be like, hey, let's just stick around our hotel and go to our hotel restaurant, and we'll see how it
goes. It's
I
mean, I'll tell you guys, if you're not well traveled, if you haven't been to, like, let's say Denver, Chicago, and New York, there is a very big difference in how cold feels. Like, it's the same thing of like Scotland, for example. Like, there is such a huge difference between like it being cold in England and cold in Scotland. Like, it's fucking different. And to me, Chicago, it just hurts really bad. And it's got to be just
that wind. That wind just is a game changer.
That wind blowing down those streets, and I mean, God damn it, you'll turn a corner from those buildings and it's just in your face, and it's just, again, not that it's not cold in New York, not that it's not cold in Denver, it's just different, but anyway, that shit fucking hurts. But anyway, I love Chicago though as a city, and there's just so much shit to do, and you being, I feel like you should go get a steak, brother. Like, they have really good steakhouses there, and you love that shit.
Yeah, I've looked at it. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Yeah,
I'll report back.
Okay, yeah, let me know for sure, because they definitely do have some exquisite cuisine there in Chicago, as you know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I'm just talking to you like this because we have people listening to us. Man, but we do Wembley, and then it's Christmas, and I mean, gosh, you know what? Let's take a quick break, and let's come back, and let's talk about Christmas for a little bit, Christmas plans, and I'll check in with you on how Thanksgiving went, and then coming up later in the program, Jordan Kettner from Love Is Blind is going to be here. He's got a book series called Dear Luca, and it's a really cool thing. And I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy the conversation. So y'all hang out, listen to this. We'll be right back with more Rockstar Dad Show. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. Gary, I forgot to mention this. On our last show that we did, I told you, I think I mentioned how I just had a fucking crazy brain fart and almost just called my child Eric, but his name is not, it's Everett. Anyway, my Everett had commented on like how early Tyler has to get up for school and get going, and how long his days are. And, he comprehends that, anyways, I think there's something about him, being younger, and he sort of compares himself to that and whatnot. Anyway, he started wrestling, and we have to get up at 5:50 now. Woo. And goddamn, there is such a difference between 5:50 and 6:05. I can't explain it, but it is so different.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just don't like, you're almost sick to your stomach. You know what I mean? Like where you get up so early, you just don't feel good, you know?
Yeah.
It's that thing. It's like something about like the clock not even saying 6 yet, no matter what time you go to bed.
Yeah. With Tyler having baseball, he doesn't have to be there as early as we were thinking, because they changed how they do some stuff this year. We were thinking he was going to have to be there at 5:30 in the morning before the year started. Ends up he doesn't have to be there till like 6:30. But then also we changed Mia's school, and her school that she switched to starts earlier than what she had done before. So I have both kids dropped off at school by 7:15 in the morning. And it's crazy because a lot of mornings I'll go up to our warehouse after I drop off Mia, and then like I'll go play drums for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or other days I'll come home and then I'll take our dog on a walk. But it's crazy to like have both your kids dropped off and then like go do something and then come home and take your dog on a walk. And while you're on that walk, there's still kids getting picked up for like from the bus to go to school, because our school starts so early. But I feel you on the waking up early. It's
you don't
painful
ever come
some
back
days.
home and go back. You don't ever come back home and go back to bed.
I rarely do, because by the time I get up and get the kids ready and then take Tyler and come back and get Mia and then take me, I mean, I've been going for like 2.5 hours at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm awake. I'm in go mode.
Yeah. Do you already have coffee and shit?
Oh yeah.
You already had coffee and taking a shit? Yeah. I mean, I get that. Yeah. For me, it's a fit, you know, I get up so I got it the last 2 days. He just started this week. And so get up at 5:50, drop him off by 6:15, and then I'm home by 6:23 or 6:24, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy to go back to bed for an hour or so. But on the days that I don't, I love it, because it's like by 11 o'clock, I have accomplished so much, you know, and it is really, really nice. I mean, I get the whole, why get up early is good for so many things, you know why, but God, I love sleeping so much. I really do. I started liking it more in recent years.
With the getting up early thing, I'm a little different than like a lot of people, I guess, because like a lot of people start doing I have to wake up for whether it's work or workout or taking kids, whatever. Like they get in the routine of that. And then, so like on the weekends, people still wake up at the same time. I don't have that. I like, you know, my alarm wakes me up every morning, and I hit snooze because I don't want to be up, you know, and I'll get up and I'll get going and I get everything done that I need to get done. But then it gets to be the weekend and there's not school or whatever. If there gets to be the time where I don't have to be up, I don't have the thing where I still wake up at the same time. Now, maybe because, you know, now I'm waking up at 5:45 in the morning. Maybe I'm not sleeping till 11 on my own. Maybe it's like sleeping in now is 8:30 or 9 a.m. But I don't feel guilty about that at all.
See, that's a problem.
And there's also a difference. If we come home from tour,
yeah,
then sleeping in is like noon, you know, because you're recovering at that point.
No, I'm the same way, man. I'd never wake up at the same time. I never have do that. And, you know, Rob does that thing where he's like, his clock is always the same. So like if he's on the West Coast, he's like, he tells you like he'll but it's like this time for me, you know, blah, 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 or whatever. And I'm just like, it's just this time, you know, this is what time it is. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, but yes, I guess some people are saying, I will say, when I did construction, I did have that. And I think it just, there's something where if you just fucking have to be up, and, you know, like, and I'm sure a lot of like factory workers or whatever get that, where you just, you know, you wake up at a certain time and you just get conditioned to that. But I'm the same way, man. If you don't wake me up on a Sunday, shit, I'll wake up at 11 o'clock and go back to sleep and look up and it's 1:30 in the afternoon, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like a fucking teenager again. And, you know, most of that is, you know, the last few years, it's fairly recent that I've been able to do that. But, which is interesting because, you know, hell, shit, sometimes on the road, I'd miss daylight, I'd sleep all day because we'd stay up all night. And now,
Right.
we get up at a reasonable time most of the time. Well, anyway, I said we were going to talk Christmas. How was your Thanksgiving?
Our Thanksgiving was super low key. It was supposed to just be the four of us, my two kids, my wife and us, and then my wife's parents and my mom. So it was going to be a super small group. My mom ended up not feeling great for a few days, so she ended up just staying home because she didn't want to come over and get anyone sick.
Yeah.
So it was just the six of us, meaning Anik's parents and us. So very low key, very calm. And after each meal, I'd make a plate and take it to my mom's house because she lives up the street. So I'd take her some food. But
nice.
yeah, it's kind of low key. Nothing crazy. How about you?
Yeah, pretty low key. We went to my parents on the Monday and had and all three. No, Jack and Emma went. My brother and his wife and my parents, but Everett was actually at a getaway with a friend for his birthday, the friend's birthday.
Yeah.
And that was nice. And then, drove back. And then on Thanksgiving, the night before Thanksgiving, I went over to Gary Price's house and I had quite a bit to drink, but I still got up in the morning and started the parade, at least with Everett and Casey, because normally I sleep through that. And
do you give a shit about the parade, or is watching the parade because they like it?
Yeah, I don't give two shits about it.
Yeah,
they get up and watch it every year. Historically, I sleep through it, but this year I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get up and I'll have a coffee and sit here and I just basically got on my computer and answered emails and while the parade was coming, and he would say, "Look up at this float," and then I'd look at the float and shit, and then
Mia gets all excited when Bluey or Zombie Demon Hunters or something, a float that she likes. She gets all excited about it. I'm in the other room. I could give two shits about it, and usually Anik is like, "Look at this," and I'm like, these people are so bad at lip syncing. Like, I don't know why you're watching this. This is horrible.
So bad at it. It's like. I mean, you would think they would rehearse, but I guess they don't. Yeah. And then, but yeah, we went over to Casey's mom, and had a really, really nice time and watched some football. I actually had lunch, and then Casey was hanging out with our niece, Emma, and most of like the friends and stuff had already left. And so I was like, "Are you hanging out? I'm going to go home and take a nap." And so I came home, took a nap, and then went back and had some beers and watched football and stuff. And it worked out great. And then, man. And then we went and did a show up in Miami, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Crazy show. It was at a casino. Otherwise, I don't know that we would have ever had a reason to go to Miami, Oklahoma.
That's right. Yeah.
It was one of those old school casinos. They still smoked in there.
Yeah. Man.
And I don't know, maybe they do it at most casinos, but there's usually better ventilation at least. Like,
I think that's the case. Yeah.
The room that the show was in was like a ballroom off of the casino, and then we were tucked away backstage, so far away from the casino, and it just still smelled like smoke in the hallway from all the smoke in the casino.
It's a very weird show in that we couldn't drink backstage or on stage, which is, I mean, almost never happens. The last time that happened was at Disney. So, but at least we got to cuss during the show.
In Miami, not at Disney.
Miami. By the way, it's spelled Miami, but they call it Miami.
I was trying to think about the last time we actually couldn't, not being able to drink on stage. That happens, and sometimes people don't care. And they're like, well, just put it in a koozie or put it in a cup. And, so the rule is you can't drink on stage, but they don't really care. Like, you just can't show that you are. But I was trying to think, like, the last time where we actually played a show that we not only couldn't drink on stage, but couldn't even have it in the building. I couldn't even think of one, because I think it may have been like one of the colleges that we played like back in the van days. So freaking 25 years ago.
Yeah, because usually they at least let you, or if you can't have it in the dressing room, we just stay in the bus.
Right.
I mean, I know that that's happened before, and so maybe we're just not thinking of it. But yeah, it was a seated show. We couldn't drink, and and it felt like I had smoked an entire pack of cigarettes after we were done. However, it was great fun, and the crowd was awesome.
Yeah,
And
it was
super,
a weird like not weird. It was oddly a fun crowd. So most of
yeah,
the time, whenever it's a seated crowd, even though it's your crowd and they came to see you, like it just the energy, the vibe, the whatever, just kind of down.
yeah.
And we feed off of that, so like it kind of makes it a weird night for us. So it was interesting because it was a seated crowd, but they were still having fun, and it was a fun show for us, I thought.
It was really funny because the feedback I got from that show was, like a lot of people going, man, that's the best show I've ever seen. It was fucking lame because we had to sit down the whole time, but man, that was a great show,
Yeah.
And it's like, so we're not blaming you. You guys were great, but I
Right.
don't, there was some weird rule even with the audience and like how they could get alcohol and stuff. The whole thing was but anyway, it was a great time. And I would totally do it again. I think next time though, I would like to at least, you went into the casino, right?
Yeah, it was like a legit casino.
And okay, so it looked like, like a casino.
Yeah, I mean, I thought because it's a tiny town, and a lot of the times those smaller casinos in smaller towns, it's like all they are is video machines.
Yeah.
But I mean, whenever we walked out there, it was a real casino. There's predominantly video machines, but there was a area that had tables. It had multiple blackjacks, and it had some the ultimate Texas Hold'em.
Like with the dealer there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there was like 2 or 3 different bars. So I mean, yeah, it was like a legit casino.
Okay, awesome. I like it. Well, you know what? We'll just have to talk about Christmas next week because our guest is here, and I'm super excited to talk to Jordan. Jordan Keltner from Love Is Blind season 9 is here. We're going to talk about Dear Luca and everything that he's got going on there in the Denver, Colorado area. And so
that's
y'all
why
hang
you
out.
kept on saying Denver when we were talking about cold. You got Denver on your mind.
Maybe that's probably it. Yeah, I think also Denver's fucking gold, but like,
Sure.
yeah. Well, guys, y'all listen to this. We'll be right back with Jordan Keltner on the Rockstar Dad Show. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. As promised, one of our favorite shows the last few years, really since Life After Lockup. After that, Jump the Shark. I think Love Is Blind is mine and Casey's sort of new guilty pleasure. Jordan Keltner from season 9 is here. How are you, brother?
What's going on, everyone? How are we doing?
It's good to see you. I got to tell you, there's a couple of show questions that I have to get out there, but I do want to tell Gary. Gary doesn't do reality TV, and
me neither.
And
my wife does, but I don't.
But what you need to know, Gary, is that Jordan, he's meeting this girl on the opposite side of the wall, and Jordan's a funny guy, and he's completely tattooed, like he's sleeved legs and arms. And she says, "You have any tattoos?" And he goes, "No, I don't have any tattoos."
Yeah, I hit her with the no, and then because during production, they don't want you to act like there's cameras. They want it to be very organic.
Yeah.
So like, don't look at the cameras; they're not there. And of course, I said I'm gonna hit the wink with the camera, just because it would be funny. So I'm really glad they left that in there. Just like kind of showed my personality, which I appreciate.
Of course, you break the fourth wall, and like what's funny is editors love that if it's done. Like that, like a little subtle thing like that. So I do have to ask, and I'm going to try not to beat you up about the show because
no worries.
Sick of talking about it. But was that an actual reveal when she saw you? Was that the first time she actually knew that you had tattoos?
100%. Yeah, I think we both were really just trying to lean into the experiment as much as possible. But so there was very little indication of how our appearance was. So yeah, that was the first time she saw me 100%.
That's so crazy, man. Because again, like you're, and it's like bright colors, like it's a lot of new school stuff and really good stuff. But
from being someone who's not into reality TV show, how did it go about that? You threw your hat in the ring, got signed up. Where's the motivation for that?
Yeah, so it was just I'm not religious, I'm not super woo-woo-y, but I feel like the universe kind of has a plan for everyone in a way. And I just was casually dating. I'd kind of been split from my son's mom for, a year and a half or 2 years or whatever. And that was always choppy up until leading to that point. So I was just kind of like going on these online dates, and everyone knows that Denver is just notoriously bad for dating for whatever. I just think people are just very like self-centered and doing in their own lane. Nothing wrong with that, but just not a lot of intentional dating going out here. And then I was just on this random Tinder date, and this girl brought it up on like the first 20 minutes. She's like, yeah, Love is Blind's casting in Denver. Me and my friends are going to apply. And I was like, the date's going so good, you know? So yeah, I've never even seen the show. I think that was like kind of a product of COVID is when it started getting popular when it came out. And I told my friends, and like, oh, that's a huge show. You should apply. I was like, I really don't know. And, you know, I'm very selfish with my time, and the application is very lengthy. So I just went through, so I like had pulled it up twice and just was like, nah, no one's going to look at this. This is going to just waste my time. And then my son was like, he wouldn't get out of the shower this one day. So I was just trying to get him ready for bed. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll give him another 10 minutes and just do all this stuff. And so I like recorded the little video. And I don't know if you've seen, I Think You Should Leave on Netflix, the Tim Robinson comedy. He did this during this time. There was like this big zipline bit where he was like on this dating show, and he was only there for the zipline. So it was kind of meme. So I pretty much just said, I'm going for the zipline just as a joke. And
right.
It was myself throughout the entire application, just fully wholeheartedly assuming no one was ever going to look at it, and just from there just went crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you aren't I've been thinking about how I was going to say this to you. You're not the normal contestant, like, because I will say most of the dudes on there are pretty douchey. I mean, I'm sure that you're friends with a lot of them.
Yeah, they're douchebags. They're my douchebags.
That's right. Yeah, right. But you know what I mean? Like, they're those. Most of them are like they're like, if they lived in Dallas, they would all go to the Gaylord and wear the same shirt. You know what I mean? Like, it's like one of those situations where you're just kind of you don't really fit the mold. Is really what I'm saying. And
I truly went on there with just like super minimal expectations. And I guess I'm just glad, you know, I was just myself through the entire process. I'm sure a lot of people tried really hard to put on like a facade or what have you, but I just think that takes too much work. And I do think I have like a cool personality. It's annoying sometimes, or it can be a lot to handle, but I think I went on there with great intentions, and that's hopefully what showed.
Well, you know, and again, the reason I was instantly drawn to you was you're a single dad. You co-parent, and not only are you a single dad, but you co-parent really, really well with your ex. And, you know, again, that's a really big deal on this show. I mean, we have obviously having a lot of people in the music industry and a lot of people in the entertainment industry. We have a lot of split households, mixed households, single dads, you know, things like that. And so, you know, I thought, man, what a brave thing to go on this show like this, because, you know, a lot of these guys are there and they're really just sort of like, hey, I got this badass job. I make all this money, blah, blah, blah. What you went in there going, yeah, I kind of have a normal job and I have a kid. And, and really, I mean, I really thought that took balls, and was there, I mean, so, and you were very, very upfront about that, and it shows what kind of a dad you are. So first of all, kudos.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
That was very, very impressive, to go in and just be like, hey, you know what? You got to know this about me, and so I wanted to commend you on that. But let's get into talking about Luca. One of the things about Luca is he has, I believe it's diabetes, right?
Yeah, he has type 1 diabetes, correct.
Yeah, so born with that, which ended up, Gary, I know you're not in the know, but I am. It ended up being a connection with who Jordan connected with, because her father, also suffered from that. But that leads us into, that's a big part of yours and Luca's life, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, we need he has medical treatments he has to do, or else he won't live long. So yeah, it's a huge parts of everyone's lives. And I think that's a large reason me and his mom co-parent so well, is because we have to be on the phone. We have a group chat with the nurses at school and stuff. So we have to be aligned, or else, he's not going to be as healthy.
So interesting. I was really that didn't hit me until just now, that has to be a part of that whole thing. Like, that's a literally every difference that we have does not matter. nothing that like, no, there's a reason this didn't work out. None of that matters. What matters is that we're together for the, for Luca. And a lot of people do that, but you have to do it with literally no stipulations because of his health.
Yeah. And I've always felt like it's so much easier to just live life without like, he like takes a lot of mental effort and energy and strain to not like somebody and to not get along and to engage in that behavior. And then it takes essentially no energy to just be like, hope you have a good day. Talk to you later. Like, let me know what you need help with. And
let's be honest, Jordan. Let's be honest, Jordan. And I don't want to piss off the female clientele, but most dudes are like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not perfect. Luca's mom's not perfect. We still have our disagreements and arguments here and there, but
of course, yeah.
We always move past it pretty quick. But yeah, I just think it's so much easier to just say good morning and move on with your day.
Absolutely. Now, so let's talk about Dear Luca, and just give me a little bit about how it came about and what it is and where we are right now.
Yeah. So I don't know what bit me when I was a kid or whatever, but I've always been very like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I've always had like little side businesses. During filming of Love is Blind, I had like 10 Kia Fortes. I had like a car sharing operation that I was working on. And then that, obviously the economy took a fat shit. So I had to like exit that. And then Luca was in kindergarten learning how to read. And it just kind of bit me. I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. Like, watching him struggle through the words and use like the sight pictures. And I was just overly impressed by him just stringing together, these three word sentences, just like so cool to watch yourself essentially just learn this stuff. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, let me see how hard it is to write a kid's book. It's actually exponentially hard. And then I don't have any business writing kids' books. So I've teamed up with my best friend's wife, who's she's been in the teaching space for a long time. And she teaches a social emotional learning system, which is just essentially talking about emotions and controlling your emotions. And we wanted to introduce that as early as possible. So that's pretty much how it came to fruition. But it was, it's been a crazy, crazy ride. And if you would ask me if I was going to be writing kids' books 5 years ago, I would have said you're lying,
I'm sorry, I may have missed the timeline. So you started that before or during or after being on the show?
It was like right after.
Right after. Cool. Interesting.
So it's recent. I mean, it's in the last couple of years.
Yeah. We've been working on it about 1.5 years now.
Yeah. And where is it now? Like you have, you're releasing it as a series, right?
Yeah. So it's exclusively sold on our website, dearluca.com, but I'm working super, super hard just to try to get it in local bookstores and on Amazon and just to make it as accessible as possible. But time.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Like it's for something like that, it's the guy that signed us back in 1999 is an author now, and actually has a few kids' books, by the way. So if that's a connection I can make, let me know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I would love to hook y'all up, but and he'd be down. But that I know that's obviously there's just so much legwork involved in it. It's one of those, it's because again, it's, everybody thinks they're an author, right? And then, but you have a good product or whatever, you gotta float to the top and get yourself in there. And I'm sure that there's just a lot of work and networking and things that and some things that are pretty new to you, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, we technically we formed like a publishing company as opposed to self-publishing. So we had to learn all the stuff about legalities. We had to learn the editing process, where do you find an illustrator? I had to find an illustrator that we were compatible with our mission and how we kind of wanted to present the book. So, I mean, we had to find a manufacturer. We had to figure out distribution. So it was just like a long period of time of just trying to, and nothing is quick, right? To get a book illustrated, it was 2 months minimum. Editing, we rewrote each series or each book dozens of times, just restructuring the sentences, making it easier. We'd had like little test readers read them and make sure like, okay, like, does this make sense? So yeah, it was a very in-depth process. Very proud of it though.
I'm curious about the animation thing. 'Cause I just always assumed that, you would partner with an animator, and that there would be cross ownership, but it sounds like you farmed it out. So you still retain ownership of it.
Correct. Yeah. We did pretty much all editing, and then illustrations through like freelancing websites. So we would, the editing wasn't nearly as hard just because it's not as structured like a kid's like fictional story about dragons and stuff where you might need filler and help like adding things here and there. It's like, we're very straightforward. We're talking about emotions. We're giving basic emotions kids can understand and relate to. And then hopefully there's a little something the parents can, relearn themselves.
Yeah.
But with the illustrators, really trying to find someone that we connected with. And so, yeah, I think we had like 10 test illustrations done through 10 different illustrators. That's a huge process. Luca was part of that creative process as well, getting dialed in with the illustrator. So again, it was just like a cool family activity, and just so glad I got to do it like my best friends and family. So like really,
I love that idea of having him involved in that.
Yeah, not trying to work him to death, but I was like, hey, buddy, out of these three, which one do you like the most?
Yeah.
Now, I should say, with every book sold, $1 is donated to help children with type 1 diabetes gain life-saving care.
Yep.
And, I know there's so many things out there for kids like him, and our buddy Brett Michaels from Poison is a lifelong diabetes sufferer as well, and does a lot of stuff with camps and things like. I think you talked about camps on the show. Has Luca done any of the camps?
No, he's never been to any camps, but after the whole show came out, there's been a gazillion invites. We're going to go to every single one we can make. So
yeah,
definitely.
Okay. I like it. You're going to make that sort of a part of it. And you're going to, I mean, that's a really good idea, and, I just think, it's so cool that you get to do something like that, work with him, work on something that means something to him, and again, just, dude, I think you're a good dude.
Appreciate that.
Now I see the snowboard behind you and hanging on okay. All right. Oh, and there's a Luca sized one too.
Yeah. We'll be going out on Saturday. So very excited. It'll be the first of the season.
You born and raised in Colorado?
Yeah, so this can kind of pivot to how I discovered Bowling for Soup. But my dad is from Colorado Springs, but he was in the military. So I was born in San Francisco and then just forever moving around. And then we landed in Guam, which is where I kind of got there's just a lot of Japanese influence from the war. I'm a big history guy, so that was really cool and just kind of a really unique place to stay.
Yeah.
But also that's when I think that's like where I describe myself as like the most influential part of like growing up. I don't know if just the collective of people or just the island living, but I mean, I was like really into skateboarding, like scuba diving, and then just got into punk rock a lot. So I don't know. You guys remember Sky High, I'm sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to watch that movie on repeat, jamming out to your guys' song in it. And then, My Chemical Romance drops an album whenever I lived there too. Just a very influential time, but that's where I really got into the whole rock. I mean, I'm just a big music guy anyways, but yeah, just very cool that you guys hit me up.
Yeah. We got to play Guam. We toured with the Navy a bunch. And
with like the USO?
Yeah. And it was actually Navy Entertainment, but same sort of deal.
Sure.
And but yeah, we got to play Guam, which was great. With that, it's funny. I sort of knew you and I would be, have some sort of like a connection, because I just, again, the good thing about y'all's reality show is that I really do think you sort of get to know the person, there's a lot in the editing.
For sure.
We all know that. I mean, there's hours and hours and hours of stuff that you don't see. And Casey and I will call it out sometimes. Oh, bad edit. Like they'll put a reaction to something and you're like, nah, that doesn't match up. So I bet sitting there and watching that sometimes you're like, well, wait a minute, that's not what I said to that.
No, definitely. They a lot of the conversations were chopped and screwed, but I think they did a fantastic job presenting Megan and I. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really good to hear. That is
how long were you gone filming the show?
Yeah, so that was one of my main motivators for just being so transparent about, again, I got a vasectomy. I'm open to having more kids, but again, you can't always get a vasectomy reversed. The fact that I was a single father, and then I'm just a regular dude because I was gone for 3 weeks. I was able to see my son for 3 weeks. I was able to talk to him on the phone. So it was like, if I'm not here finding my person, I'm going back to hang out with my son because I'll see all these people in Denver another time, and my son's he was like 4 at the time. And that's just such a precious age. And I wasn't trying to miss out on that.
What's
That's a
that
hard time to
balance of
be.
yeah,
I was going to say that's a hard time to be away when they're that young because so much is happening and changing. But how did he take it?
I mean, it was, I don't think he really knew any better. So, I mean, production was so good about like, as soon as I could get back to him, I could. So I think we landed from Mexico and I was on my phone FaceTiming him. And then we all went up with the producers. And I mean, Megan stayed home because we were trying to feel out the situation between her and Skylar. I wanted to make sure they got along and everything. There was like approval there between them. But like production was just like so awesome with just getting my son near me as soon as possible.
Nice. So how was that 3 weeks divided up? It's 2 weeks in the pods and then
it's like 2 weeks in the pods and about a week in Mexico. There's like some traveling in between and stuff. But yeah,
but the pods, you're actually staying in a hotel, but the one room is where y'all hang out all day and go in and out of the pods.
Yeah. There's like a lot of different options on like, oh, you can, I don't know how much I'm supposed to say. So I'm gonna try to keep it semi-limited.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Dude, but yeah, you go to the hotel and then they have different options on how long you can stay there. Like no one's held hostage. Anytime I see that there's a Love is Blind lawsuit, I'm like, oh, Jesus, you guys. I mean, from my experience, it was like an abundance of whatever you needed. Everyone was very compassionate and caring. You could have just walked out if you really wanted to. So I don't know where all this stuff comes from.
Some people did on yours, It was,
exactly. People said it wasn't for them. And I think, that was awesome that they were true to themselves.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of true to yourself, you guys, you got back and start living the life and realize that, it's not going to work out. And I just thought, I said to Casey, my wife, I said, if they're not both going to say, I do, they're not having a wedding, because he wouldn't do that to his kid. And
that was our mutual agreement. And it just, obviously she's amazing for taking my feelings into account, but it was just like, I think we were just we cared so much about each other's feelings and how we were like presenting ourselves. And we just didn't want to get on stage knowing that either one of us was going to say no. I mean, we know people want to see that and it's dramatic, but first my son was going to be there and we just didn't want to go that route.
That was, again, that was that protective dad in you that I saw, right off, and some Rockstar Dad shit. And, I guess the other thing that I'll ask, one more thing about the show, is that, you go to the reunion and find out that she had a baby. You obviously knew that, right? Or
I found out like a couple weeks before. I mean, I'd been hearing rumors or whatever, but we had literally like, we broke up and she said, process this however you want. And I blocked her number and walked out because I knew it was going to be like, oh, let's go get dinner. And then dinner turns into come over. And then, it's fucking 3 years later and nothing's changed. So I was like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and move on with our lives. And so it didn't hurt my feelings. I hadn't spoken to her for a year. She's allowed to get out and do whatever she wanted.
Sure. I mean, Denver's a small town. You know what I mean? Like it's a big city, but it's a small, big city, right?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Perfect way to phrase it.
Yeah, it is. It's just one of those places where everywhere we go, we know somebody, and it's it's the same. It's like a Las Vegas. Like people think Las Vegas is so big, and it's just this small, big city, and Denver's kind of that same vibe, and any big plans for Christmas with you and Luca this year?
Yeah, so I won't have Luca. Like I'll have him Christmas Eve and then part of Christmas morning, but then he'll spend the rest of Christmas Day with his mom, just how our schedule is. So I'm just gonna chill out. I'm trying to, like life is moving a million miles an hour. So I'm just trying to take it all in and enjoy it and kind of be proactive and think about what I want to do with my life now that, there's doors that are open and doors that are closed. So I just want to kind of disconnect and, put my phone away for like 4 or 5 days and hang out with Luca and chill.
That sounds pretty awesome, dude. DearLuca.com is where you can go to order the books right now. Don't forget, and there are 3 different books. Don't forget that there are $1 from each book that you buy goes to diabetes, helping children with. Sorry, I'm trying to read and think about.
It's just $1 goes to Life for a Child, which is the leanest running T1D charity we could find. So they just really make good use of the money. Their CEO doesn't wear a Rolex. He doesn't drive a fancy car. And that's someone we wanted to be partnered with.
I love it, man. Well, I am going to make a donation to that charity.
Well, hell yeah!
As soon as this episode is over, and I'm gonna grab these books for a new nephew as well. Everybody go to dearluca.com and follow Jordan Keltner on Instagram. You can see all the stuff that's going on with him, and if you're into the whole Love Is Blind thing or whatever, you see some of that still in and out of there. And dude, when we're in Denver, let's hang out.
Let's do it. Yeah, just say the word. I got you.
Yeah, man. Well, we love Denver, by the way. It's one of our
favorite cities.
Really, it's a great city. I love it.
It always has been one of our favorite spots, and so I would think that we would be back pretty soon. All right, brother. Thank you for coming on the Rockstar Dad Show. Everybody else, y'all be good. We will see you next week.
This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that you know, some rockstar dads who started a show. Until the next episode.